Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to our Friday night Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat service. I'm also welcoming our cantor, Lisa Kippen-Hershenson. It's so wonderful to be leading with you, and I know that everyone is happy to see you too.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. It's a pleasure.
So we will begin our service with the lighting of Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. As we do every week, we begin with Hine Matov, celebrating how wonderful it is that we are still together, even though physically we may not be able to see the rest of the crowd that are here gathered with us. In my imagination, I am here in our synagogue, Congregation Newbridge, and I am looking out in my imagination at a full house with all of you here. So that's how I'm imagining it, and I hope you have a sense of community too. And this song, Hine Matov, how good it is to gather together, brothers and sisters.
Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad.
For those who have a Siddur, please turn to page 4 for Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nikar mapanav v'toda. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai.
We continue now with a reading on page 7. If you don't have a Siddur, don't worry, I'm going to read it aloud. It's called The Wonder of Life, and it is an interpretive translation of Psalm 98. Sing a new song to God, give thanks for the wonders God has performed. When we are trapped in narrow places, yet find strength to move forward with confidence and trust. When we could look the other way, yet take a chance to reach out to one another with openness and compassion. When we experience great pain or sorrow, yet find light in the midst of darkness. When we recognize the wonder of life, ordinary moments become sacred. And now let's continue on page 9 with Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod vos, havu l'Adonai kavod shmo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai amayim el hakavod irim, Adonai, Adonai, Amayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Bakoach, Kol Adonai, Be'adar, Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, Vaishaberat Adonai et Arze Halanon, Vayarkidem Kemo Egel Levanon Vesirion, Kemo Ben Re'emim, Kol Adonai Chotzer Lakavodesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yechol Elayalot, Vayecheso Be'arot, Uvehechalo Kulo, 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 Kulo Omer Kavod, Adonai Lama Buyashav, Ayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech et Amo Vashalom.
It's turned now to page 11 for Lecha Dodi, and we will sing, as we always do, verses 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi anu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem ol tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likras kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, lecha Dodi likras kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. It overi, ki va'ore kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin usmal tifrotzi, V'et Adonai ta'aritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nizmecha v'nagila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boim shalom, עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
On page 13 of your prayer books is the song for the Sabbath day, and we'll read the interpretive translation. It is good to give thanks to the Eternal and to sing praise to the great name, to tell about your love in the morning and your faithfulness every night, with the 10-stringed harp and the lute in song and meditation. For I delight in your world, source of joy, in your deeds, in the works of your hands. How great are your designs, Creator! They are beyond our comprehension. The foolish do not perceive this. The shallow cannot understand. Though the wicked flourish like the weeds, though they spring up like grass, they will be cut down. For you shine on high forever. Behold, your enemies shall perish. The evil ones will fall apart. You lift me. You increase my strength. Like the wild ram, I am fragrant with oil. I have seen the defeat of my enemies and heard the doom of my attackers. The righteous flourish like palm trees. They grow tall like cedars in Lebanon. Planted in the dark soil of the Holy One, they blossom in the courtyard of our God. Even in old age, they bear fruit. They are green and full of vigor, proclaiming that the source of life is just, our rock, whose way is perfect. And on the left side of the page, Tzadik Katamar. Please join in.
Tzadik Katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, shetulim beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, odenu b'seva, tishenim bera'ananim yihiu lehaki, ki yashar Adonai Suri velo avlatabo.
On page 15 is the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shmeh Rabba.
Amen.
V'yalmad ivrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechon v'chayedecho bet Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv yimaru. Amen. Yehesh merava mevorach le'olam u'lamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalam, shmei kudusha b'riku le'ila min kol mirchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran Yama Vimaru. Amen.
So today for our sermon, it's going to be really what they call a Devar Tfilah, an explication or commentary on a prayer. And the prayer that we're going to be looking at is Psalm 27. I'm going to show it to you by sharing my screen. And you'll see it on the screen in just a moment. Give me 1 second just to get it right up there. And here we are. This is a little bit of a taste of what it will be like on Rosh Hashanah, except way better. Then for Rosh Hashanah, we have professionally developed slides that will show you the prayers that we're saying in good size type. And but today, this is just a document that I produced so that you could all see the words of the psalm and we could read it together. So please join me in reading it. My goal is to read it together and then talk about it. One more piece before we begin to read it, and that is Psalm 27 is traditionally said from the beginning of the month of Elul, which we are in now, the month prior to Rosh Hashanah, and it continues through Rosh Hashanah, through Yom Kippur, and through Sukkot, which is 51 days, but who's counting? And so it's a good thing to know what the psalm is because it does reappear. We have not been including it regularly in our service to try to keep within the 60-minute slot, but it's worth stopping and paying attention to it. So we begin. Psalm 27, a psalm of David. The Lord is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom should I dread? When evil men assail me to devour my flesh, it is they, my foes and my enemies, who stumble and fall. Should an army besiege me, my heart would have no fear. Should war beset me, still would I be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, only that do I seek, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord, to frequent his temple. He will shelter me in his pavilion on an evil day. Grant me the protection of his tabernacle. Raise me high upon a rock. Now is my head high over my enemies round about. I sacrifice in his tent with shouts of joy, singing and chanting a hymn to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry out. Have mercy on me. Answer me. In your behalf, my heart says, seek my face. O Lord, I seek your face. Do not hide your face from me. Do not thrust aside your servant in anger. You have ever been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, O God, my deliverer. Though my father and my mother abandon me, the Lord will take me in. Show me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my watchful foes. Do not subject me to the will of my foes, for false witnesses and unjust accusers have appeared against me. Had I not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living? Look to the Lord, be strong and of good courage. Oh, look to the Lord. So, this is a long psalm, and there are several parts that seem, really, why are we saying this? Especially the parts about the enemies that are round about, an army, men who assail us, and so on. And so some of the background to the psalm is, first of all, it begins from a place of confidence. The Lord is my light and my help. Who should I fear? The Lord is my stronghold. Whom should I dread? I think that the idea of who should I be afraid of is, well, there are people I should be afraid of, but I'm not. I'm okay because I have God, or I have faith in God. So this psalm, according to the Talmudic tradition, was composed by King David. And King David's reign was a series of war after war after war. And he never really had much rest from his enemies until very late in life. So when he wrote his psalms, or when others wrote as if they were David, they experience the anxiety of war, the weariness of war, and the deep longing to be able to peacefully rest and have time for a spiritual life, a time to think about what my relationship to the divine is, what is my purpose in life, the spiritual questions that one often doesn't have time for when one is under siege or under threat. So David uses a military language here, or the psalm uses military language, but we can certainly use metaphors for anything that threatens us, whether it is a visible enemy, a physical enemy, or even just a virus, or any other thing that we feel threatened by. The central theme of this psalm has become this section here. One thing I ask of the Lord, achat sha'alti me'et Adonai. Only that do I seek, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. So for us moderns, do we really mean that? Do we really mean, oh, I just want to sit in services in the synagogue or in the study hall all day long, every day of my life? There are some people who do passionately feel that way, but my guess is that most of us don't. So is this really a toss-up between the spiritual world and the world of action, the world of involvement and integration into society? I don't think it has to be. It's not binary, not just one or the other. And in fact, by learning and broadening our perspectives, we hopefully gain compassion that leads us to action in the world. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, who was a late 19th century commentator, said that if we sanctify the areas that we live in, as in our home, our place of work, our interactions in society, by living an ethical life, fulfilling all of the commandments that relate not only to God, but to our fellow human beings. In that way, we bring God into our house, into our world. We bring God with us basically wherever we go. And that, I think, is something that we can certainly relate to as in a modern world, that living a meaningful, thoughtful, intentional life that incorporates in it a caring for others is something we all can do under all circumstances. So why do we say it for 51 days? That's a lot of days. Well, one of the reasons is that there are hints in the psalm, which I'm not going to go into from a linguistic point of view, that point to hint at Rosh Hashanah, hint at Yom Kippur, but why stretch it out to Sukkot? Well, there is a line that says, Ki yitzpeneni besukkot beyom ra'ah, because he will hide me in his tabernacle on a day of danger. Sukkot, yes, it continues, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. And then there's one other part. Well, what about Elul? Well, Elul fits in here probably the best. I'm going to show you this line here. Had I not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, ... It's an unfinished sentence. And in Hebrew, it reads, Lulei he'emanti lirot betuv Adonai be'eretz hachayim. And again, even in the Hebrew, it is incomplete. The word lulei is kind of like if only or had I not. And it's spelt in Hebrew, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, Aleph. If you put that in the mirror, you get Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed. Elul, this month. Well, that covers the gamut of 51 days. So that's why we do it. And now let us sing the key part of this song, Achat Sha'alti, and I hand over to our cantor Lisa.
Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota vakesh. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota vakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot benoam Adonai, ubegacher b'chechalo, lachazot benoam Adonai ולבקר בהיכלו. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. לחזות בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו.
Thank you, Cantalisa. I hope this is a song that is familiar to many of you. We will be singing it from time to time during the service on Rosh Hashanah. I also hope that this sample of seeing the Siddur, the prayer book on the screen, will encourage you to opt for that option for Rosh Hashanah rather than actually a physical machzor, but that option is also available to you. I'm going to stop sharing now, and hopefully we'll be back again. Yes, it worked. Such a relief when technology behaves. We come now to our Mariv service, the evening service, on page 16 with Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Vaed.
On page 16, let's read together, You Bring on Evenings. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe. Your word brings on evenings. With wisdom, you open heaven's gates. With understanding, you change fixed times and alternate the seasons and arrange the stars in their places in the sky according to your will. Creator of day and night, rolling light before darkness and darkness before light, you cause day to pass and bring on night, and distinguish between day and night. God of all forces is your name. God, living and enduring, always rule over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evenings. And on page 17, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amachavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, shachbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, l'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavtecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, baruch ata Adonai. Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Elohim,
Page
et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol meodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישורך.
We're going to skip forward now to page 20, 4 lines from the top to conclude the third paragraph of the Shema.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
And now we turn to page 21 for Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lo tosefel, norati lo tosefel, mahalechutecha ranu banecha, Bokeh ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam Zeili anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed Ne'emar ki pada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gal Yisrael.
On page 22, let us read, Lay us down in peace. Lay us down, Adonai our God, in peace, and awaken us, our ruler, to life, and spread over us your sukkah of peace, and help us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us and remove from us enemy, disease, and sword, and hunger, and sorrow. And remove the evil forces from before us and from behind us, and in the shadow of your wings, shelter us. For God, you watch over us and rescue us. For God, you are a gracious and merciful ruler. Watch over our going and coming for life and for peace, from now until forever. And spread over us your sukkah of peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, the one who spreads a sukkah of peace over us and over all your people Israel and over Jerusalem. We turn to page 23 for V'shamru, a time to rise in body or spirit.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We turn now to page 25 for the Amidah, and we will chant the first three blessings together, and then we will pause. If you wish to say the traditional words, by all means, and if you wish to say the words of your heart that are not traditional, that's also good, and we'll join together for Oseh Shalom at the end.
Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufia ki tilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neiam, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, U'Poked Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah rav lehoshia, Morid atah, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech cholim, U'matir asurim, Umekayim emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal givorot umidom elav, melech meimit umechayei umatzmiach Yeshua. Ne'eman atah lecha chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yihallelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Oseh shalom bimrama, Uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yakol Yisrael.
We turn now to page 130 for the Mishaberach, the prayer for healing. We also offer a prayer before we begin, remembering all those who are caring for those who are ill, particularly since COVID-19 is not over everywhere. We are feeling a lot safer here, but in so many places, people are not. And medical caregivers, as well as people who are in the front lines in so many different ways, are at risk, and we pray that they be kept in good health and be appreciated for the incredibly big sacrifices they make. And now for the Mishaberach, the prayer for healing. It is a time for us to think about those who we are praying for healing, and it can include ourselves. And I will say the traditional words and then pause so that we can say out loud or hold in our hearts the people for whom we most want this prayer to be so. מי שבירך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא מלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולרפאותם, להחזיקם ולהחיותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, mikor habracha le'avotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We turn back to page 41 for Aleinu, and as I did last week, I'm going to open the Aron Kodesh, the Ark, as it's done in many congregations.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gidula le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol amonam, v'nachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mimal u'shchinato zo v'gohei meromim u'Eloheinu Enot Emet Malkeinu Tesulato, Kakato, Petorato, Viadata Hayam Behashivota, Elivavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, Hashamayim Nimal, Aretz, Mitachat, Elod, Elod.
Okay, מקבל אחד אולי.
Kakatu v'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, le'melech al kol ha'aretz, hayom hahu, yihya Adonai echad, Ushamo, Ushamo, Ushamo Echad.
On page 44 is the Mourner's Kaddish. And today we remember, amongst many others who have passed and who we think of and miss, we remember also Marcel Speyer, who is Dorit Senior's brother. May his memory be a blessing to us. If it is a yortzeit or you're saying Kaddish, please join in. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayeh dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'b'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam armei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma v'imru
Amen.
Yehe shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ויאמרו Amen. And now some announcements before we come to Adon Olam. Today it is Alan Addis's 90th birthday. Happy birthday, Alan. Should we give him a round of happy birthday, everyone?
Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Alan, I hope you heard everybody singing to you from all their apartments, wishing you a very happy birthday. Another mazel tov for the Addis family is that Alan and Ruth's granddaughter, Anna, will be getting married to Charlie on Saturday night. So mazel tov, you should always have celebrations. It's a wonderful thing. I want to thank Cantor Lisa for her beautiful leadership of services. It always is such a joy to lead together. Tomorrow morning, go ahead.
Ditto.
Thank you. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock will be the Shabbat morning service with Rabbi Karen. And on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, there'll be Torah study with me. And there will be a letter coming out very soon, excuse me, to offer you the opportunity of requesting a machzor, a holiday prayer book on loan, not for keeps. We need them for next year down here, but you'll be able to acquire a book, borrow one of our machzorim, if you wish to have a hard copy in hand. But I do want to assure you that we have prepared slides for at least 85% of everything that happens in the service, and it will be very accessible on the screen. So from a practical perspective, there is not a great need for that. But if you want to have a book, by all means, so please let us know. We'll send out a notice about it, and you'll call the trip line to sign up for a book, which you will, of course, return. And then the other thing is, I did mention in the notice about the High Holy Days that I will be hosting a communal Rosh Hashanah dinner on Zoom. So if you are not already booked and going somewhere else on Zoom, please feel invited. And also I would like you to sign up for that so I can send you a Zoom invitation. I will not be putting the Zoom invitation out publicly. It will go to whoever signs up. So those are my announcements for this week. We're going to conclude the service with Adon Olam, but don't run away afterwards because we've got Kiddush and Hamotzi. So page 45 for Adon Olam.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol Levado imloch nora, vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yihye betifara, vehu yihye betifara, vehu echad v'ein sheni, lecha meshilo, lecha chbira, Eli Reishit, Eli Tachlit, Velo Haoz, Vehamisra, Velo Haoz, Vehamisra, Vehu Eli, Vechai Goali, Vetzur Chavli, V'Eitzara, Vehu Nisi, Umanosli, Menat kosi b'yom ekra, Menat kosi b'yom ekra, Yado akid ruchi, V'eit ishan v'yayira, Im ruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira.
Yasher Koach and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And now we're going to have Kiddush and Hamotzi. I prepared myself a little cup of wine, just like in the good old days.
Vayhir vayhivoker yom hashishi, vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tzvam, vaychol Elohim vayom hashvi, melachto asher asa, vayishpot vayom hashvi, Mikol melachto asher asa, v'yivorech Elohim et yom hashvi, v'yikadesh oto, ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot sabri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei B'riat Rafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu. V'shabbat kodsho v'yahavu ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
And now for Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Good Shabbos, everybody. It's
Shabbos.
wonderful to see you. And in 2 weeks' time, will be Erev Rosh Hashanah, and we'll be welcoming the new year together with Cantor Lisa and I. I look forward to it very much, and we'll see you in between. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.